Welcome back. It's time for another Ashes of Creation news video. Intrepid Studios just held their monthly development update stream, so we got things to talk about. I'll start off the video with a studio update. We'll go over some of the new gameplay, then talk about some of the new concept art, and end the video with a rapid fire on the Q&A that they held. If you guys end up enjoying this video, please subscribe. There'll be much more Ashes of Creation content on the way. Links to my Twitter and my Discord server will be below. Let's get right into it. As many of you may know, the Alpha 1 Pretest 1 concluded on December 21st, and the next pretest will be from February 19th through the 22nd. The following pretest in March, as well as the actual Alpha 1 in April, will not be under NDA, so we can likely expect a lot more Ashes of Creation content making its way to the internet not too far over the horizon. Steven, the creative director and owner of Intrepid Studios, also mentioned that they may open up the Alpha 1 sales again in late February, which would allow some of you to essentially back the game and participate in Alpha 1. This is not 100% guaranteed, but he said it is likely and that the company will notify us through their newsletter and socials. Currently in the studio, Intrepid has recently finished retrospectives on December's Alpha pretest and are now thoroughly going through the compiled metrics and data to make improvements for the next pretest. It seems like they're happy with the feedback that they've gotten so far, and although there's still a lot of work to be done, they're getting close to the content pipeline, which basically is when a good amount of the team is going to start focusing on populating areas with monsters and NPCs, adding quests, and things of that nature. The studio is still working from home, but is hoping to get back into their studio in the near future. Also keep in mind that Intrepid is growing and is going to have around 30 new job positionings opening up. Their first round of hiring was posted around 2 weeks ago, so if you or anyone that you know is skilled in this industry, make sure to look into that. But you better be good. Don't ruin our game. So the video that you're watching right now is new gameplay that we've been shown. This takes place in the Alpha 1 zone, which is mostly made up of a tropical jungle type biome, with a lot of water of course. This zone will be around 70 square kilometers in size. As always, keep in mind that the game is still in development, hence why some aspects might appear to be unpolished and unpopulated. One of the best things about this particular gameplay, in my opinion, is seeing all of the water and thinking about how their naval system and general water type mechanics are going to play out. Using ships will be a thing in Ashes of Creation, and I'm personally very excited for it. The naval system will not just be a way to travel and transport goods, but it will also deal with PvP ship battles, ocean raids, and more. We even got to see a preview of a Flamefin frigate boat, which is one of the first ships that in-game modeling has been started on. This boat isn't the biggest, but it's one of the larger ones that was said to be built to hold a full raid party, which is 40 players. Ships, in essence, will be vehicles that have operations on them to perform combat and non-combat objectives. In a previous development update, Intrepid talked about how their water environment can be used by ships in strategic manners, as well as players who are not on the ships but perhaps looking to create some havoc. For example, you may see a rock overhang area, and your guild might decide to post out its particular players that have gliding mounts to the top of the overhang, and there those players will wait in hiding for the oncoming ship to pass by. Everyone will jump off and glide to the ship, and then board it like true pirates. This stuff is really fun to think about. This tropical biome will have several coastal inlets and coves, likely forcing a lot of interesting naval activity to take place. Although everything already looks pretty good as it is, in the future you can expect the ocean shader to be replaced, making the water look even better, and the underwater post-processing effects will be getting a nice touch-up. As you can see in the video now with the tide snapper in it, these are some of the extra water particle effects that they're adding to the game. It looks really good. We were told that there's going to be a lot of underwater content, so the studio is giving their water some special attention. It is important to note that there will be around 18 different biomes in this game, so even though Alpha 1 and this video in particular are focused more around the tropical biome, there will be plenty of other types of environments. For example, north of this tropical biome is a mountainous region home to the Nikoa dwarves, which will have snowy areas. East is a riverlands area. North of that, you get into a desert biome. Further south of the tropical biome is a heavy jungle area, and so on. One thing that I really like about what they mentioned is that a lot of this game does feel grounded, meaning that it's not over-the-top crazy high fantasy with floating castles and the likes, but instead the game maintains some form of realism, but of course with a fantasy flair. As Intrepid says, they have one foot in realism and the other foot in fantasy. Back to the water topic, we got to witness Steven jump off a really tall cliff into water, which sparked a conversation on whether or not there will be falling damage when landing in water from a really high place. As of now, the answer is yes, there will be, but of course it won't be the same as jumping from a high surface onto land itself. The reasoning as to why they are doing this is another example as to why I personally have attached myself so much to the idea of this game. The company seems to really understand that having some sort of risk associated with things can go really far in keeping a game from becoming boring. Steven even mentioned that certain areas on ships are going to be much more elevated than other parts, and in turn you'll have a little more risk associated with those areas in terms of if you stumble and fall off. So if you go up a ship's mast, if that's a thing in the game, instead of it being a normal boring activity, you'll have to actually be somewhat alert and conscious about what you're doing. Things like this can really keep players engaged and give a lot more meaning to many activities, even the simpler ones. Having some form of waterfall damage will also place more importance on gliding and flying mounts in the game. It will make strategic terrain planning more important and much more. Now let's quickly go over a few of the images that we were shown and then get right into the Q&A. Right here is an image and a video of a Thundering Bolt Tier 2 mount, and from what I understand, this particular mount skin is a royal skin that might be able to be purchased in some way, but is also available to players who become lords of castles or mayors of a city in positions like that. This beast will also be a monster in the game with totally different skins. We were shown a new hairstyle and texture which is being showcased on a female Empyrean elf. Intrepid says that their character creation is very important to them, and they understand that player characters are not just cool things to build, but also ways to express yourself. Right here is an image of the Corvid Castigator skin, which if you ask me looks really badass. We were of course shown some more furniture. These particular images at first glance may look similar to previous housing furniture images, but they are in fact different. Intrepid keeps pushing to us that they want to offer a large variety of furniture types and styles so that players can really go all out in player housing. There will be unique props for each of the 9 cultures that exist in the game, and if you look closely, these new images demonstrate some of this. This is a cool image of a flower mushroom, which showcases the game's beautiful array of colors. This particular plant, or whatever it is, has a unique use, but that's all we know about it. And lastly, I'll show you guys the Timeless Terrapin Turtle mount, which is a mount in the game with a specific skin. I think we can all agree that this company's work so far on mounts has been terrific. We've seen such a variety of mounts, all with unique looks, and what really impresses me is their animations. And on to the last part of the video where I rapid fire off the answers to the Q&A. You will be able to sell goods to NPCs as well as players, but players will most often yield the best rewards. As some of you know, there will be a marriage and family system in the game. Marriage will not affect freeholds for housing, they will be separate, but marriage will augment your family size cap by +1, among other benefits. I'll leave marriage and family at that for this video. Much of this is still up for discussion with the studio. In terms of using the mailing system in the game, regular mail, such as letters, will be instantly transferred. You will not be able to mail resource material, for that would take away from the game's trading system with caravans and the likes, but it is possible that players may be able to mail some completed crafted items. This topic is also still in discussion. Someone asked if we'll be able to change our race later in the game. The answer to this is most likely not. Primary archetypes and racial choices will be final, but secondary archetype choices can be changed through a process. Next question was about roads in the game and how they form. The road system in Ashes is essentially driven by pre-placed routes that lead to a main artery, which was once the ancient highway system of the planet of Vera. From there, roads become exposed as nodes advance, and these roads are called veins. Depending on which nodes advance, it will also create capillary roads. This is an evolving system reacting to player activity, and it should be very interesting and fun to watch these changes take place in game. There will be a toggle for chat bubbles in the game with options to manage them. Summoners in the game will probably be able to name their pets, but the type of creature that the pet is will always be displayed. There will be many administrative functions that come along with the map in the game, such as pinning locations. Intrepid knows how important this can be for player, party, and guild organization. Mules in the game will act similar to caravans in that if you die and the mule is killed, other players can loot the mule's corpse to obtain a portion of items that are capable of being picked up. And lastly, caravans will give some indicators as to the type of loot that they're carrying. For example, if you're transporting money in a caravan, gold might show up on the top of a specific part of the skin of the caravan. Or if you're transporting crafting materials, the caravan might have iron visible on it. Players cannot see into the caravans, but more so get an idea as to the type of goods that is being transported. In late February, be on the lookout for the Ashes of Creation new website that will be launching, as well as the next development update stream, which will primarily focus on classes. Exciting stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you ended up enjoying this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It's a huge help to my channel. I do all sorts of videos on this channel, ranging from class guides to lore videos to live streams to game reviews to game tutorials and much more. I'd love to have some of you guys back for a future video. Until next time.